Hello, hello, hello. I'm late. Oh, goodness. I was busy playing with this pretty set and I completely lost track of time and thought, oh, it must be about 10 to 7. It absolutely wasn't. It is absolutely late. And that's okay, right? So some days it's harder than others. And obviously today is one of those days. And Facebook is just driving me bananas as well. We might have to just give up on this. And yeah, we are going to give up on it. We're just going to get on with it. And hopefully you will join me and you can hear this. And you will be able to watch this on replay, seeing as you had no forward notice of this being here at all. Anyway, the important things, Coneflower celebrations. Isn't this a pretty set? It's one of the brand new sets. Love the words. You made my day. It's your day. I love that I know that I've known you for so many birthdays. I think that's adorable. Happy belated birthday. Thank you. Celebrating you. And I'm sorry I missed your special day. Let's extend the celebration. And I'm a firm believer of celebrating for an entire month. You've then obviously got the coneflower image, you've got a butterfly image, you've got 2 different leaves and a stem. Now, obviously those are the stamps. There is a coordinating die cut, which you can see here, which I absolutely love. This set, which looks a little bit like a butterfly, it could be a butterfly, you could absolutely make it into a butterfly, is the base of a card. So you can actually has that very thin, very faint line there, which is a fold line, so that you could make a card that you could then open and write in the center if you like, especially if you've got 2-step stamps. So happy belated birthday on the outside, and then I'm sorry I missed your special day, let's extend the celebration on the inside. So that works really, really well for these 2-step stamps. Oh, try saying that 3 times too fast. Then you've got the overlay image, and then the top of the coneflower. You've got a fun border, and then again 2 sets of dies for the leaves to give detail. Here's your stem, and then here's your butterfly outline for the butterfly. Okay, it makes a cute card. It really does. And this is what I'm giving to my customers at my crop on Saturday. So I was busy die cutting pieces ready for them because I've made a design, but I thought I'd do it on a scrapbook layout too. There is a piece of artwork in the book that features this set, so I thought I would take that idea and run with it and hopefully give you some ideas with it. So as always, say where you're watching from, say hello and where you're watching from. We'd like to know that. For my layout, I'm actually only going to use one side of this. I'm actually going to cut it in half. Now, because Facebook is not working this evening, apparently, for me, I'm going to sit down, so I'm not going to be able to see your comments, but make sure you write comments down, and then I can answer them later, right? Okay, so I'm going to start off with some basic white cardstock, and I've gone ahead and done a lot of the prep work ahead of time just to make life easier. Okay, I will use these pieces in a minute. So I have a 12-inch base piece and I have an 11-inch square. Okay, so we are going to center this on this, but we're going to do some we're going to add some pieces to it. Now I have taken some strips of cardstock. These are all 11 inches and they are 0.75, so 3/4 of an inch long, and as you can see they're actually the basic white, and then I've just inked them up, and I'm going to show you how to do that. You've seen me do it before, but I will remind you and do it again. You're going to need some scratch paper, so let me just grab mine and we'll make it a little bit smaller just so you can see it on camera. And because I'm going to do that same technique to one of the tags. You know that this set is one of my absolute favorites. It is the Something Fancy dies. You can see where I used it on the card and made a little mini album. You've seen those many times before, but I love these 2 dies, so I've already gone ahead and cut them out. This is the larger one, which I'm going to distress, and then we're going to use the smaller one and we're going to use it for journaling. Okay, so I want to do that same wood grain technique, and you know, because I've told you, but I'll tell you again just to remind you, right, because we're all busy, you cannot do this technique with the main ink pads because these are foam and they're way too squishy and it will not work. But what does work perfectly are the stamping spots, because they are felt with a linen surface and they work beautifully. So all you're going to do is you're going to drag this down your piece of cardstock. Start on the scrap paper and end on the scratch paper, and all you're going to do is just do it like that. You can turn it over so you can get the other side done, but don't stop halfway through, otherwise you get the lines like I did here. Now for this piece it really doesn't matter, but it's just, it looks better if there are no solid lines going across it. So always start above and finish afterwards, finish below it. All right, but you can see the difference in color of ink. Can you see how much darker this is? It's because this is wet, because I've just done it. This I did about an hour ago. So again, there's another piece here. You can see the difference. This is darker, but it will, as it dries, it will get lighter. So that will be apparent on a lot of the artwork that I show you tonight. All right, so here is my 11-inch square, and as you can see, I've already gone ahead and I have edge distressed with my scissors. You've seen me do it before, but I'll remind you, all you do is you just scratch it with your scissors to get that roughed up, shabby chic look. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put adhesive on all of these. So if I could find my adhesive. See, this is what happens. I get all carried away with creating artwork, and I lose track of time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put adhesive on both ends of 3 of the pieces and only on one end in the middle of the other 3, and it'll make sense in a minute. All right, so using my stamping mat, my glass mat, I'm just going to line it up, and then I'm going to take this, and this has got the adhesive on the top and the middle, and we're going to come in about 1/2 inch, and I'm going to glue it down. Whoops. It helps when I don't push it. Okay, so I'm gluing it down at the top and the middle, but the bottom edge is not. And then we'll leave, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch. Yeah, something like that. Halfway between 1/2 and 1/4. Okay, and then again with a 3rd one. And I apologize that I didn't make it yesterday. There's been a lot going on, and you know, some days are harder than others, and that's okay. Crafting is to be done when you're having fun, right? Okay, I will put adhesive on these other ends, but I'm going to weave these strips first. So this is a strip that's got adhesive on both ends, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over that one and under that one. No, I'm not. I'm going to come over that one and under that one. Just depends on where that and we'll come up a little bit. We'll come up about 1/2 an inch again. Depends where those lines are. Can you see I've managed to hide some of those lines, which is good. And again, we'll come under that one, over that one, and because I haven't glued the ends of those first 3 pieces down, it means that they will lift up and you can wiggle them around. Wiggle being the appropriate word for scrapbooking. You know my glossary of terms when you are scrapbooking. A smidge, a whisker. You know my terms by now, right? Smidge is a small amount, a whisker is a small amount. Okay, and I'm going to push this end up, and then, as I say, we will glue those down in a minute. Look at that. Look how pretty that is. Cute. I love doing this woven technique. Now that those pieces are stuck down, I can just lift up these 3 pieces and just add a little bit of adhesive underneath them. 1, 2, 3. We will smooth and stick those down, and then you can always turn over the page. This one was a little bit longer, so we'll just snip that one off. Always turn over your artwork, because that way you can follow the line of the base. And then what I will do, just to make sure that these tone in, I will come in with my scissors and again just rough up those edges so they all coordinate. You don't want any edges that look different, so let's just edge distress those 3 pieces. Sweet. Look how pretty that is. Okay, I have a piece of cardstock which is 6 1/4 inches square, and before I stick that down, I'm just looking at it because I wasn't sure how far up these pieces would come. I need to just eyeball it a little bit, because I'm going to take my fresh freesia ink pad and I'm going to take the stamp. It's this little dotted background which I absolutely love, and I'm going to put my base for my photo mat's about there. So I just want to do just a few dots I don't want very many. I don't want it to look like it's got measles, but I do want to have just a few. Right, so you just see a little bit, just adds that little bit of texture into the background. That's it. That's all you want to do with that. Okay, I'm going to center this on my base, and then we'll add the photo mat, and then we'll get into all of the decoration. So you know me, I'm in my white on white mode right now, so there's a lot of white on white going on. I know, but it just looks so effective, and it looks light and airy. I'll move that out of the way. Let's move some of these things, and then you can actually see what I'm doing. All right, and I've already gone ahead and I've edge distressed. Oh, I edge distressed 3 sides of this. Apparently I didn't do the 4th side. So let's do that before we go any further. And just drag my scissors down. Right, there we go. And that looks better, funnily enough, right? So here's my 11 by 11. And let's center that on there. You know, sometimes you need a quick and easy scrapbook base that you can then spend time decorating and adjusting the way you like it. And this is, look how pretty that is. It's not too fussy. It looks really effective. And then here is my photo mat. 1, 2, 3. Let's just put some adhesive on there. And again, I've edge distressed this, and that really looks pretty centered on that section there. We're going to put 3 by 3 photo mats on here. I've got 3, and then the last area I'm going to use as an area of decoration. So let's just pop these down. So this was 6.5 inches square. So we're just going to lay them very gently, because like this one I know isn't straight. We can move this one just a whisker. It's just lying on top of the paper, and you can move them around before you actually push them down hard. Beautiful. Okay, that will do nicely. So here is my plain, oh sorry, no, that's my colored one, and I have a plain one here. We may end up having to cut another one if I can't find the one I cut earlier on. Oh, I cut this ready. You know, some days are harder than others, and that today is one of those days. All right, well, we'll cut another one, because apparently that one has gone AWOL. Doesn't matter. It's a great way for me to just quickly and easily use this die. And I know it's off camera, but it doesn't matter. Let me just whiz this through, and as quick can be. There you go. There's that die. It's probably on the floor somewhere, if truth be known. I've got bits of paper everywhere. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to put this piece down, and I'm going to put this piece down. But before we glue this down, this, like I said, is going to be my journal spot. And my new thing right now about journaling is to emboss lines into the cardstock. So I like to slide my cutting blade up to the top, and that gives me my light colored scoring blade. And the first one I'm going to do is about 1/4 of an inch from the bottom, and then I'm going to do it about every 1/3 of an inch up the tag. Now, if you have a score mat, you can absolutely use that. But I love this technique. My writing is atrocious. I don't see straight, apparently, so my writing isn't straight. But by distressing those lines into it, it gives it some texture, and it also gives you a line to write on. I think it's just a perfect way of doing it. Okay, I'm going to move that out of the way because I want to show you what I did. Like I said, you can take, I showed you these dies, and what I've done is I've taken the base of one of these and I've cut it in half. Here's my base. So I've just cut it in half, just cut it on that fold line. Okay, I don't want this to open up on a scrapbook page. All right, so bringing back my piece of scrap paper, which has escaped, I'm going to take my Fresh Freeze ink pad, and I am going to just press it into the ink. Okay, now just go gently. There's a lot of ink, and you can build it up. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, something like that. And you're going to say, Sarah, that is really, really dark. Yes, my friends, it is. But like I just told you with that grey, it's wet. That's what it looks like when it's had time to dry. Can you see the difference? This is soaking wet and it will dry lighter like that. So you can all breathe. Now, is it darker? Of course it is. It's tone on tone. You get that slightly darker shade, but it isn't going to be this dark. That's just my sample piece. Okay, so I have already gone ahead and taken 3 of those bases and done those same techniques. I've also gone ahead and cut. Let me just move. I'm going to need this scratch paper again in a minute. I've gone ahead and I have cut 6 of these pieces. Now, technically, you just need 1 to overlay it, and it's super, super pretty. This is what it would look like if you did it on the same color cardstock. So, so pretty. But you know, Sarah, I can't leave it like that. It's got to be Batkinized, right? So what I've done, and I've already done it to this one so that you can see the diff. Done that one, and I'm going to do 2 more. Now, usually I like to have these set aside and dry, but when it's going to be what it'll be. I'm going to take my ink pad. Now, you could use the, what's it called? The silicone mat. But as I have got my glass mat here, I'm just going to put some ink on that. It doesn't look very much, but believe me, there is. I'm going to add a little bit of water, and then so this one I've already done, so we're going to do 2 more. Okay, and I'm just going to come in and I'm going to paint. Let's take it a little bit wetter. There we go. And I'm just going to paint those leaves. Now, they look dark, but don't panic, they will dry. I needed to be able to show you. I should have just done 1 earlier on and let these dry. So you're just looking for a tone on tone. You can see up here that it's wet and it's dark, and we're just going to let those sit for a minute. I have an old cloth here that we'll just wipe up on my glass mat, and we'll just squeeze some water through it so that it washes out any of that remaining ink so that you can see it's dry. So I use an old microfiber cloth. You could use whatever you prefer. Sometimes I use kitchen paper towel. All right, so that's not, ooh, is that wet or dry? Let's just give it another wipe over and make sure it's completely dry before I put my layout back on it. All right, so I also cut out these are the coneflower dies. Okay, so what I'm going to do with these, you know, I'm not going to leave these the way they should be. We're going to take the Wink of Stella, which is the glittery, shimmery brush. It has all that fabulosity in it. And I'm just going to color in, or paint over if you like, those yellow centers. Okay, just to add a little bit of sparkle and a bit of shimmer and shine. Very pale if you look at those, but the actual base of these 2-part leaves, because this is the base and then this is the overlay, and I've already glued them together. I have stuck those together. All right. I apologize. It keeps freezing. It's phone calls coming in, and I'm ignoring the phone calls. So I apologize if it keeps freezing, my friends. There's nothing I can do about that. Okay. So let's go ahead with my flowers, and we're going to make these. We're going to start with the one that is dry. This one's drier. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut the top of it off. Okay, so I'm just going to take off this extra because this is the bottom layer, and it doesn't matter what I cut off here because the yellow piece here is going to hide everything. I'm going to do exactly the same thing with this top layer as well, because it means that I can then move these around and have them at slightly different heights, and it's all going to be hidden by that yellow top. Okay, so get rid of those. So now I'm going to take the Tombow multi-purpose glue. Apologies for the state of this bottle. It's getting very tatty looking. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this layer that I have painted, add a little bit of glue just to that piece, and I'm going to offset it So as you can see, it's hanging off the top, or the edge, if you like, of these flowers. So that's why I cut this piece down smaller. Does that make sense? See, there's a method to the madness. Always a method to the madness. Okay, I'll just tuck that there. And then with my next layer, let's put the lid back on that before I lose it. The next layer, I'm actually going to put 3D foam tape on. All right. So of course I've cut these really small. So I think if I can find them, no, I can't. Of course I can't. Doesn't matter. I was going to find the mini ones, but that's okay. I can just about fit one of these larger ones on. And again, if you could see it, it wouldn't matter because it's going to be covered by the center of that coneflower. Okay, so here we go. Then I'm going to layer this. So that way, by doing this technique, you can see the very dark layer, the slightly darker layer or slightly lighter layer, and then the lightest layer. Okay, I know it's very subtle. It's there. Trust me on this. I'm a scrapbooker. Would I lie to you? Okay, and now we're going to attach that yellow center. All right, so I'm just going to come in and put just a stripe of adhesive on each of those. All right, this is the thing that took the time. It wasn't the actual layout itself. It takes me longer to design it and decide what I'm going to show you every week than it does to actually create it. But look, can you see how much texture there is in these coneflowers? I think they're absolutely gorgeous. I really do. And the beauty of this adhesive, you can move stuff around because it's still slightly wet. Just takes a second to adhere and then it's on. All right, let's finish this layout, shall we? Let's put this together and let's get it finished. This is the fastest layout I've done in a long time. And if I can find my gems, we're going to add some of these gems. Don't let me lose them, okay? When I can't find them, remind me where they are. Okay, so I want to put a couple of them here. And again, my tag is going to go here. We're going to glue the bottom edge down. And we'll put a piece of 3D foam tape, Stampin' in Dimensionals at the top, which will give it a bit of movement. Okay, this piece is going to go here and I'm going to do the same thing again. Adhesive on bottom and then 3D, whoops, the tape's got stuck on the back. Okay, the 3D foam tape there. So the majority of this is flat so that you can write on it, okay, but the tops come up. And before I go any further, somewhere I have a little bow. You can see I'm almost out of this. I love this. This is the Fresh Freesia ribbon 165540. Okay, and this is Fresh Freesia that I've used, cardstock and ink. So we're just going to put, I'm not going to use adhesive. The reason being is that I don't want it to soak into the ribbon and show. But I do have some glue dots here, which, come here, Sarah. We will use one of these. Now, where are my tweezers? Let's just grab a glue dot and stick that on there. Rub it with my tweezers. Pick it up, the top, and then we'll glue that ribbon on it. There. Ha! Look how cute this looks already. Okay, so I have my stems. I have my stems for my flowers. I love this set. I really do. I think it's gorgeous. And I want this set, and the stems curve, so you can choose which way they curve. I want these to look, my piece has come off. It hasn't quite dried. Okay. I want this to look like it comes from one bunch. So this needs to be up just a whisker. Okay, see? Technical term, whiskers. All right, so let's just glue this piece down for a start. And then I know where I'm going with that. Okay, so can you see how pretty those little dots look? It just adds that little bit of texture in the background to stop it looking too white. And then we'll bring this down and like mix them so that they look like they're growing in a bunch. Okay, And then, yes, I know they're too long. It doesn't matter. Oh, well, okay. That's going to be where a leaf goes. Okay, I like that. I can trim them off at the end, at the edge of the page. That's no big deal. Okay, so I like that there. All right, and then this one. I'm not sure. No. There. Actually, we're going to pop this one up. I want this one to have a bit more lift to it. So we're just going to add more 3D foam tape. You know my thing. Don't be skinny with your 3D foam tape. Don't be saving money on 3D foam tape. 3D foam tape takes your projects to the next level. It makes your layouts look far more professional, right? There's nothing worse than seeing a layout where it has a piece of 3D foam tape in each corner and then it sags in the middle. Nobody wants sag. You know my reasoning on that one. There's too much sag for us ladies when we get to a delicate age. The last thing we need is sag in our layouts. I have enough sag going on at almost 60. I certainly don't need any more. Okay, so here are those leaves. Let's just put them around. We know we need one there to cover over that glue, right? We can fix most things with a little bit of glue and a little bit of jiggery pokery. Oh, I like that. Me likey, me likey, me likey. Whoops, stuck to my finger. Okay, I'm not hating that. I have one more. Do I need it? No, I do not. Okay, I don't hate that. Let's get them down. And I'm going to use a combination of adhesive or tape adhesive and 3D foam tape for the very same reason that I said before. Now, oh, there are my mini glue dots right in front of my nose. Okay, let's stick a couple there and we'll do a couple there. All right, so we want this to have that movement of being flat at the base and then coming up into the air. We don't want everything to be flat like it's in a prison up against the wall, you know. You do need something that has some movement and some no prison layouts, please. As my friend called them. She's like, everything is like furniture, everything is like up against the wall, don't move. It's like, let's have some texture, let's have some movement going. And it makes such a difference because then you've got shadows start to appear, and it just elevates your artwork. Oh, I love this. We'll have this one coming out from behind. Look at that. Love it. Do you love this layout? Do you like it as much as I do? I hope so. And again, just 3D foam tape, all of the 3D foam tape. This is what makes all the difference to your layouts. Me likey a lot. Okay, I hope I'm getting lots of comments on this. Just because, let's move that one out of the way, and then we'll just have that one coming out. Pretty. And I don't need that other. Oh, do I need that other leaf? No, I don't want it on there. Walk away from the leaf, Sarah. Let's put some of these gems. These are the Starburst sequins, 165539. And I have some of the purple ones left, so you better believe I'm going to be using some of these sequins. The white ones fade into nothingness and the yellow is the wrong shade, so we're going to use the purple ones. Now, while I'm thinking of it, and before it goes out of my brain completely, did you know that in June, the buy one get one half off special started yesterday, and this is on all sweets and on and also on sweet products. So if there's a paper pack that you like that belongs to a sweet, that applies, or if there is a I'll put one up there, or if there is a particular die or stamp set that comprises in a suite, that also buy one get one half price. So whatever you buy, you can mix and match, which I absolutely love that whole concept. If you do that, always that your lowest price item is going to be a half price one. Like if you go shopping Kohl's, or if you shopped in Walmart, or wherever you go and do your shopping, same thing applies. How cute is that, my friends? I am almost done. I hope you love this. So this just needs one finishing thing. I just need to take my scissors and just, again, following the line of the layout so that it's straight, just snip off those stems, and look how cute that is. It's adorable. I absolutely love it, and I hope you love it as much as I do. That's it. That's all I've got for tonight. Thank you for being patient with me, being late on here, and thank you for being patient with me for yesterday. You know, sometimes Technique Tuesdays become Wonderful Wednesdays, and this is what you end up with. I hope this inspires you to go and get the Coneflower. Visit my website, sarahbatkin.stampinup.net, and go and check out the last chance goodies. They've just updated the last chance. There's a whole heap of items that are reduced in price, so make sure you take advantage while supplies last. And I will see you next week. Okay, bye.